Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the United State, brought to you by Gallowgateshots. I'm Shade.
I'm Rich. How's everyone doing?
And we're the United State. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to everybody that tuned in to our last episode. We really enjoyed that one, and we're happy to be back with you with another one. But first and foremost, before we get started, we just wanted to send our condolences to Toon Army Dallas. They lost one of their members recently, and we just wanted to say that we love you. We're sending out loads of support. If you guys need anything, please feel free to reach out. Toon Army's behind you.
That's it. What we're here for.
Yeah. So never good news to hear about. But we do send our love. And all right. So moving forward, before we bring on our next guest and stuff, which I'm pretty excited about. We've been working on this for a minute. Yeah, so this will be good. We should talk some current events because it's been a bit. I mean, it's been a quieter week towards the end of the week, but it was a pretty crazy Monday, wasn't it?
It was. It was kind of it was a busy start to the month, and then it went quiet a little bit. We had missed out on a few targets, and a few clubs were playing hardball, weren't they? I think.
Yeah. I mean, we should definitely talk about the Lingard of it all because that's interesting, especially considering how Man United fell down to Middlesbrough this week as well, which I'd love to see.
I know, and I don't think Lingard was on the bench, right?
I mean, I didn't get to watch the match. I didn't see that he played. I don't know if he was on the bench though.
No, I think recently with the Jesse Lingard, they've been giving him they gave him a 10.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
he tweeted out that he's like willing to play for them, and
yeah, he completely he tweeted about it was basically going against everything that the manager said, and which is interesting.
Yeah, I just glad we're not run by the Glazers. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I would have loved to have him in our team for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. But I think it was pretty evident that we were never ever going to get him now that the window's closed and everything that developed on that day. But you know what? He's either going to come to us or West Ham on a free in the summer, right?
Right.
They're going to miss out on him now.
Can you imagine if a lot of people were saying what's the goal for us? Is it 17th or is it? Imagine if our new team, because basically half a new team essentially.
Yeah.
All probably would fit in the first team straight in the starting 11.
100%. I mean, we talked about we missed out on Lingard and that sucked, but let's actually talk about the positives. I thought it was a great window.
I did. You look at Trippier. That's kind of set the standard. Eddie Howe wanted to bring in a nice leader, someone experienced, someone who has got some international experience, some European experience, and that is going to be the catalyst to, hey, if Kieran Trippier can come, other players will be like, well, I want a bit of that action. I'd like 100 grand, that kind of thing. I'd like to play in front of 52,000 idiots. Those screaming Geordies, nothing quite like it. So I think that was the catalyst, to start with. And he already, you can see on the pitch, he's a really good leader, slowing the pace down, wants control of the ball. His vision of the game is a lot broader than some of the players that we have. The ones that have been unfortunately left out of the 25-man squad. So
you nailed it. I was at his debut. It was a horrible result. It was terrible about it, but he looked great. He was very vocal. You can see that he's been very vocal. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know he's new and everything like that, and I love Lascelles even though he has a liability, but he's my vote for the armband for sure. And when I don't think that'll happen this season, but it will. Going forward with that, I mean, the acquisitions that we made later in the window were fantastic. I mean, Bruno coming in is huge. Everyone's really excited about that. I already ordered my shirt.
You did? Bruno.
And everybody's excited about that. I think that's a really, really big signing for us. And then overall, like, I think we're just stronger. I mean, yes, we need another attacker, but we do have another striker that's, you know, PL tested, and we've also got a stronger defensive line, which is something that we really, really needed to address.
Definitely.
And it's all players that can slot right in. I mean, you know, we don't know how Bruno's going to get acclimated,
Right.
but everybody else can slot right in and really, really just hit the ground running. And
Definitely.
they're all saying all the right things, which I like. I thought it was just exciting to see. First off, like, just like how much we were in the news for the transfer window, right?
Oh,
Like,
amazing.
Sky Sports couldn't stop talking about us. Keith
Everything.
Downey was busy the whole window. Fabrizio couldn't stop tweeting about us, which I was just like, I'm like, I didn't even know he knew our club existed, you know? Like,
Well, he knows all the agents, and the agents are going to go to Newcastle and say, you know, my player will come for this amount of money. But
yeah.
And then the club will be like, well, he's gonna. Well, if they want him really bad, then we'll just add another 10 million on.
I know.
Newcastle aren't stupid. You can tell behind the scenes. I think with Steve Nixon and Murdad, they're just saying, there's no way this player is worth that much. It's too much. Like to bring in, say, for example, I think Diego Carlos is 27 or 28. I'm not sure, but you know, they were talking of like 50 million euros. It's ridiculous. You know, just look at Harry Maguire. Look at Harry Maguire. Man U paid 80 million off Leicester, and just a shadow of a player without others around him. You know, no one. The prices are so inflated.
I know. I mean, I tweeted about it. Like, I think that we're really smart in setting the precedent that, like, we understand we're going to pay more sometimes, but we're also not going to be taken advantage of.
Right.
And I think that that's a really important precedent to set because, you know, we understand that we're like the new big spenders in this market and everything like that. And lots of clubs are hurting financially, but also lots of clubs seem to want to show us that we're not as welcome to this new world that we can now play in.
Yeah.
And I like that we put our foot down and we're not just going to be like, okay, yeah, whatever we need, whatever you want, we'll take it and stuff like that. I think we're being pretty smart about it. I mean, I was disappointed in how some of the things turned out. I mean, specifically the Lingard situation.
Yeah.
I won't lie, but overall, I'm very pleased with this window. It was insane to have a deadline day. Like, I went on Gallowgateshots were doing their live show, right? And
that's right,
covering it all, and like it was just awesome to. Like, I mean, I was following while I was at work and stuff, but it was just like there was actually stuff to talk about, right? Like, and everything.
There's an awesome energy around the club, you know.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, some fans were very vocal about, you know, missing out on the Botmans, the Diego Carloses, the Ekitikes, all this kind of stuff. But you know, we're still unknown and unsure to some of these players around Europe. Like, we're bottom of the league. We're scrapping at the bottom of the league. So I think someone like Dan Burn, like what a signing at 13. If that like 13 million, like if he keeps us up, if he's joining forces with Shaw, can you imagine the back three of Shaw, Lascelles? You could do a back three: Shaw, Lascelles, Burn, Target, Trippier. Then you've got the Brazilian midfield. You know,
I know.
Options are endless. With the players we've got, you could do two at the back with Shaw and Burn, or Burn and Lascelles. Depends on how they're gelling. But I think, and having obviously Manquillo coming off the bench, and he can do both sides. Trippier can do both sides. Target down the left, he can score a few goals. So I think as a defensive unit, as a team with Guimaraes coming in that midfield with Joe Linton, that communication is going to be key.
Yeah. I love that photo of them hugging in the locker room.
It's wonderful. But look at the welcome that the whole club is giving these new players. Look at the atmosphere. You think 19th or 18th of the Premiership coming in, you're thinking, oh my God, this is going to be kind of a sour room. So much welcome, so much, you know. And I think, you know, like, I know Eddie Howe defends the players in the public, but I bet you that he's had private conversations with the likes of Kieran Clark, Jeff Hendrick, Lascelles, Isaac Hayden, just basically like, when you're not going to be you're not on the list, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, talk about that. Like, what are your thoughts? I mean, like Hayden getting left off the list made sense because of his injury, right? He's not going to get any playtime the rest of the season. We use the squad. We use the squad place for one of the new additions.
Yeah.
Clark. I mean, that's completely understandable as well. He's been a massive liability. He's terrible. I mean, I'm not taking away from what he's done for us. He's been
not at all.
servant. He's unfortunately been with the club too long. He's not up to par anymore.
No, he's not.
And he's just not, like, let's just be honest, he's just not good enough anymore. And
he's not good enough
for what we needed him to do. He's just not that player. And so that made sense to me as well.
Also punching a Saudi Arabian player.
I was going to bring that up, but exactly, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, come on. And like, even in that video for Bruno's welcome, like, he didn't even get up to say hi. He was just stood there looking at his phone. Like, we don't, to be honest, like, I don't know. Obviously we don't know all of what's going on behind the scenes, but just off of those kind of optics alone, I mean, we don't need that. We don't need negativity. We don't need animosity. We don't need ego. What we need is people to dig the boots in and keep us safe, right? Keep us up.
That's
and if you're just not good enough or you don't have the right attitude, then that's exactly what's going to happen.
You're right, mate.
But I do think it's a bit, controversial, I guess, about Lewis.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like the whole Jamal Lewis thing when he was going to be like just out of favor, essentially.
Yeah.
I think Eddie Howe was just looking at the options, and I think if you look at some of the goals that we've conceded late on, it might have come from the right side. So if we're weak in that left side from either Jamal Lewis or Dummett, Eddie Howe was, talk of Gossens, talk of the German player, but they obviously wanted to get a left back in.
Yeah.
So, again, it's like we might see something that we might not see. Sorry, something that they are seeing. Yeah. So that's it basically. So
no, I agree. Like, I won't lie. Like, it's easy to get reactionary at first, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, it doesn't really make sense. And then when you think about it, I mean, we brought in a right back and a left back. We have Manquillo that can kind of fit on both sides. We have Dummett that can basically play anywhere.
Basically,
yeah. And I get that. And so, maybe, I mean, like you said, maybe there are stuff behind the scenes as well that we aren't seeing. We didn't really know what to do because he fell out of favor with Bruce, but it was just hard to tell whether that was Brucey forgetting who was on his team or not, right? And and not, and it's like and so, but with this, like, he did look really, really good for us before that injury. How? But it also could come down to, well, we need you more fit. You should have taken that loan offer, and now you're kind of left out because we planned on you being loaned out. Situation. And so yes, I mean, there's a lot there. It was controversial. I saw a lot of fans really divided about it on Twitter, obviously, and myself included. But yeah, I mean, but overall, I was really happy with the window. I'm really excited. I'm excited for Tuesday against Everton. Like,
sure.
This weekend. I mean, there's been some good football on this weekend, but I'm just like, come on, give me a Tuesday already.
This Tuesday, we're going to a very important match because we could pull Everton. I don't think it's about pulling Everton into the mix.
No, it's about just getting 3 points.
I think it's about controlling what we can control. St. James's Park, Tuesday night, let's put our stamp on the league, instead of thinking, let's pull Leeds into it, let's pull Brentford, let's pull Everton. No, don't do that. You focus on winning the match, whoever's your opponent. Because Everton, you think, they've got a new manager bounce with Frank Lampard. The quality of their team might be similar to us, but if our new players put, do the stuff on Tuesday, then we'll see.
Yeah, we will. I'm counting the minutes. I already told my boss I have a doctor's appointment at 11:45 on Tuesday.
That's right.
But I mean, I could sit here and talk to you all day, especially because I've not seen you all week because we've had busy ones. But that's not why we're here. What what we are here to do is talk about other supporters groups throughout the states. And this week we're really, or this episode, we're really excited to bring on Toon Army Baltimore. Alan Yanis from Toon Army Baltimore is going to sit down with us in just a second and kind of tell us how things operate on the East Coast in Baltimore and what their supporters groups like. We got a little taste of how they operate when we were talking with Denver in one of our earlier episodes. And after that episode, I remember messaging you and being like, I really want to get Baltimore on. Like, that would be class. And, you know, and so it took a minute to get it all sorted, but here we are. So I think without further ado, let's introduce Alan Yanis from Toon Army Baltimore. Alan, welcome to the United States.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
What's up, Alan?
Yeah, we're really stoked to have you. We've heard about Baltimore, but I've never even been to Baltimore. Rich, have you been to Baltimore?
Negative. Nope.
Yeah, I've never been to Maryland.
Well, you guys will have to make a trip out. It's
It's
nice. It's a quaint little state. You can get a little bit of everything in there. You can go hit the mountains, get a little skiing in this time of year. We've got beaches that are mediocre at best, but there's water, and there's Baltimore City.
Was there any movies filmed there?
Any movies? Yeah, I think there was a couple of John Hughes movies that had some filming in here.
Oh, okay.
The Wire, obviously, is our big claim to fame, really.
Right.
But I think there were a couple of 80s movies that were filmed here.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Homicide, Life on the Street. I think that was a Baltimore show as well.
Oh,
so, more TV shows. But a lot of TV shows about murder and crime and corrupt police departments, which is kind of our thing.
That's it. That's how I associate it.
And you're Baltimore born and raised, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
So specifically Baltimore or Maryland in general? You're actually from Baltimore? Yeah.
So I was born in Baltimore City, raised in Baltimore, like right over the city county line, basically. Baltimore born and bred. My high school was back into the city line. So always been around. It's a small city. I mean, it's not. It's not some massive metropolis or anything like that. You can get across it pretty quickly.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, definitely gonna have to check it out at some point. But
man. Hopefully for a national meetup here.
I mean, which we'll talk about because I mean that was kind of how we were. I mean, that was our first. I knew about you from Twitter, but that was kind of how we first started talking about you with Denver. Was we were talking about the national meetup, which we'll get to in a little bit, but before we go there, let's focus on you for a little bit. How did you come to support the greatest club in the world?
Oh man. So myself, I started in high school. I would say, I can't even really pinpoint. I'd say probably like 01 to 02. I know it was under Bobby Robson. So that's when I started. And then, back then you could really only get news here or there or game here or there. You wouldn't really get the coverage that we get now. So it was a lot of just playing FIFA and being like, I know the lineup in and out. I'm starting Warren Barton every single time. Things like that. And then it just kind of grew and grew. I always followed them from a distance at the time because, you really, like I said, you couldn't really get the coverage like we do now. And then the actual chapter started in 2010 officially, roughly. And the guys and I wasn't even a part of that. Honestly, I came in maybe a year or two later when I found them. I found them on Facebook, I think somehow. But there was a couple of guys beforehand, maybe 3 or 4. They're still part of the group today that, all went to same bar in Fells Point, which is a bar district here downtown. Got breakfast and we're at our 6 a.m. kickoffs. Our derbies were always 6 a.m.s back then. So a lot of good times. A lot of good getting drunk in the morning, which everybody loves.
That's like.
And it just kind of blossomed from there. I just always followed them. I loved them. I kind of fell in love with them. I saw the parallels between that city, like Newcastle and here. Very blue collar, hardworking towns. We fanatical about our sports teams, whether it was the old Colts days for Baltimore that has now turned into a Ravens. I think many traveling fans can tell you Ravens fans are pretty wild. Nice people though, always nice in town. We're never really rude. We're not Philadelphia fans. No offense to those guys, calling them out. And the same things with our Orioles. The Orioles are probably even more so. They've been a consistency in Baltimore forever. So yeah, really saw those parallels and then just kind of latched on. We had a good team at the time, so it was easy. And then I have since, ridden the wave of joy and sadness that we all have over that 20-year span, roughly.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, so I guess like then FIFA would have been the catalyst for you. Is that opened up the black and white? Is that how that worked then?
Yeah, really. It was just kind of like picking a team. The black and white always like kind of obviously it stands out as a kit when you're flipping through. I mean, they were, like I said, they were solid at the time. That lineup was pretty well put together. I think they finished like 4th or 3rd one of that year when I that FIFA year, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
Yeah. So, it was just kind of easy to fall in love with them. They were, they had good personalities. They had Shearer still. I think still had Gary Speed. So I mean, there was a lot to love at the time. Things changed quickly in a matter of a couple of years, but at the time, man, it was good. It was good football. It was good riding. You know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of did start it off for me, and it's been a love affair ever since.
I think
that's great. I mean, we always hear about like, how people, whether it's goal or ending up there randomly like me or like, in FIFA, I mean, I think a lot of Americans either learned football or found their club through FIFA in a lot of ways, right? Like, I mean, that was how, like, when we couldn't get any television coverage and stuff like that, like that's just how you learned the game, right? That was your biggest outlet to it, especially growing up in the States before we had everything that we have now with Premier League mornings and USA and everything.
It was that's cool. and watching World Cups like every 4 years.
And
you're like, I remember that guy plays for Liverpool. And okay, got it. And then started kind of putting it all together.
That's cool. So then I know you mentioned that the group started in 2010. Mm-hmm. Before we get to the group of it all, what was it like for you before you found the group? Like, obviously you're on a better time zone than we are, being on the East Coast. Like for Americans that are football fans, like I think that's the preferable time zone. Like we're like envious of that when we have a 4:30 a.m. kickoff for sure.
I was gonna say, was it 8 hours for you guys? Something like that.
We're like, but so what was that like before you found the group?
I mean, it was weird. It was just kind of catching them when they were on television. You know what I mean? It was weird. Like it was a lot of just kind of reading. Like I remember just reading recaps, like reading on the internet, like game recaps and like the box score, and that was it. Like that's what I got a lot of. And then I remember when we went down and what was it? We used to go to the bar and listen to like radio feeds.
Really?
Yeah, because we couldn't watch it. You know what I mean? So it was really strange. Like those were strange times compared to now. And like even I see like people that I know, even casual acquaintances that I would have never thought were fans, like West Ham fans now. And I'm like, where the hell does this come from? So it's a different landscape, 10 and 20 years, what the Premier League has become.
I can't even imagine, obviously, that I'm a newer fan than you. And, but I mean, I always go back to our last championship season and like having to listen to that because we had no TV coverage for it. Like, I can't even imagine what it would have been like before. That would have just been, I mean, difficult, really. Like, lack of better words, right?
It was basically literally impossible. I think we got to listen to like maybe a handful of games. Maybe like 10 games tops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were there in like, and it's a pretty popular bar kind of on the downtown strip of Fells Point, which is right on the water. But it's a everywhere bar. It's nowhere's home. I think City makes it home because City. and shit like that. But it's for everyone. It's for like out of town people who are looking for that game on that 8 a.m. kickoff and they want a good breakfast. They can go there.
Yeah.
And so it was always kind of this cool, like you would run into all your friends from around the city who were different supporters at different times, because kickoffs were at different times, and it was good. It was good atmosphere. But yeah, we would be there, and like there would be like a Merseyside derby, and it would be packed to the gills, and there would be like the 5 of us in our little corner with a laptop listening to a feed.
Oh my god!
Because
wow,
it is what it is. So yeah, man, that's the dark days. Hopefully, are long behind us.
Yeah,
that's how I feel too. I mean, I like I said, I didn't have anything to like to that extent, but you know, I definitely feel like the dark days are behind us in terms of like being out here, just seeing the groups grow, and you know, especially in San Diego, because it's grown quite a bit since I moved here and Rich moved here and stuff. And that's great. But like, you know, and I only see it growing now, you know, more than ever now, right? Like, I think that the plateau for what our support looked like in America is completely blown off its hinges now, and it's really like I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah,
you know, because I mean, we're even getting fans now that are showing up who are clearly new, and obviously everyone's welcome. You want to support Newcastle with us, you're more than welcome to support Newcastle with us. You know, we open our arms up to anyone that wants to wear the crest, right? And but it's just funny to see that, like, because you know, it felt like stagnation for so long. I mean, you've definitely gotten to see a lot more progress just in terms of coverage and stuff like that, but I'm sure you can relate to the stagnation overall of the club for so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's been tough for everyone. Obviously, I don't want to undermine any fan's experience, whether they've been living this misery for the last 5 or 6 years, or if it's been the entirety of the 14. But yeah, man, it feels good, and it's nice to wear. Like, I went to the store, and some random guy was like, "Love that top, dude. Go Newcastle." And I was like, "What? What planet are we on?" So yeah, it's nice, man. Hey, I'm gonna just take it as it comes, like, you know, one step at a time. Yeah, but I am ecstatic with it.
That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. All right, so let's fast forward to 2010, because that's when, you know, Toon Army Baltimore is officially kind of the Toon Army Baltimore that we all know on social media and stuff like that. And so, so you guys, I know that you guys go to the Abbey, right? That's the name of your bar where you watch the matches.
Correct. Yeah. So the Abbey has a couple locations in, I think even one outside of Baltimore, 1 or 2 outside of Baltimore. But there are 3 in the Baltimore area. Each of them is home to someone. So one's a Arsenal bar, one's a West Ham bar, and then we have the newest one in the Baltimore area, which is in the Mount Washington neighborhood. It's a little bit further north of downtown. But yeah, the Abbey Burger Bistro is what it's called. Great place. They have been fantastic to us. We've always struggled to find a home a little bit, you know, because of our long running, you know, bit of despair. So we struggled to have a home because in 2010 when we started, many of us were unwed, no kids, nothing to hold us down. So 8 a.m. kickoffs and pints till noon were perfectly fine and acceptable. Slowly, the lads had kids and got married and started to fall off, and our regular attendance fell off pretty well. So it was hard to find a home, and the Abbey took us up before COVID. So probably 2018, 2019, right around there. Yeah, we've been going there ever since, off and on, depending on how Baltimore feels about their COVID restrictions. But I think we're good now. I think we're
okay. And so is it Newcastle's place, or is it a neutral place that hosts Newcastle?
No, so I mean, it is our place in terms of football. Like they don't have anybody else, and they try to keep it that way.
Nice.
They've had very good success. Like, everyone in the city knows the Federal Hill location is Arsenal's bar. Like, a lot of times if you go in with opposing colors, like you can't even go upstairs to watch the game with them. You have to sit down.
Wow.
So it's theirs and everyone knows it. And so, like I said, the Federal Hill location or the Fells Point location has become the West Ham bar, and then we have slowly kind of taken over up there. So they cover us on TV unless it's like a 7 a.m. on like a Sunday because they don't open until 10. So we give them the benefit of the doubt. We're like, all right, man, you don't got to open a whole bar 3 hours early for us, 4 hours early. But yeah, they've been fantastic to us. They fly our colors, so yeah, it's great. And even with like we always had trouble with like Ravens football games, if matches kind of ran into those, and because we're there and we're there usually week in and week out, they take care of us. They keep the sound on. We usually don't run too far into a football game, so most people are quite okay with it. They've taken care of us. They've been good to us.
That's fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, we joke because we go to the Bluefoot, right? And we kind of joke with the guy that puts on all the matches because it is a neutrals bar, but he takes really good care of us, right? But we kind of joke that it's the black and white foot bar now. We keep telling them they're gonna have to the name.
Will be soon.
Man, just gotta kind of make it yours. But no, they were great, and I was, the good thing is we bounced around. We had a couple different places that we went to, and we found a home with them. They understood, they understood what they had with Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal a little bit of an easier attraction. When they had started hosting West Ham at that Fells Point bar, it was just a couple of, it was like 3 or 4 people week in and week out. Came 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and then I think we kicked off against them this season, and we decided to take a little trip there. So 10 of us rolled in, and there was about 15 or 20 of them, and it was it was a good time. Everybody had beers. We bought shots for each other. It was one of the few times I think after COVID that we were able to get together. And the Abbey, our Abbey location was awesome with it. It's the same ownership group, so
yeah,
they're cool. It's nice to take little field trips to the other bars and heckle the other supporters.
Yeah. You guys do some away days then?
Yeah, we do. We've always kind of done it. We're in our younger years, like I said, we were a more rambunctious group of guys, so we had no problems walking into enemy territory. I got kicked out of a Liverpool bar at the minute I walked in after, I think, a 3-2 victory from us years ago, or a 2-1 victory, maybe it was. I was hell-bent that I was going to walk in, and I walked in, colors, arms spread, and they were like, just get out. I was like, all right, just turned right back around. But hey, you got to do it.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your group. You guys also go by, it's the Mob Town Magpies?
Yeah. So that was the original name of the group, I believe, when we first got on Facebook. Mob Town is a nickname for Baltimore.
Okay, I was going to ask where the Mob Town comes from because I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. One of our lesser known nicknames is Mob Town.
Mob Town. Okay.
Yeah. So just kind of stuck. And then we uniformed it to the June Army Baltimore just to make it easier on social media for people to find us. But kept that. If you look on Facebook, we still have that Mob Town Magpies kind of tag at the end of ours. And then we have like a little logo somewhere. If you check out our Facebook, it's on there. But yeah. And then
how many are in your group?
I would say there's probably about 8 or so of us that are like regular, that you can kind of count on. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more on any given day. But there are probably, that I know still live in the area, about 20, 25 people who have always, kind of come and gone. They'll come for a couple matches a year. Like I said, we've gotten a little bit more stable in the last 2 years. With COVID, it kind of threw us for a wrench because as we were getting our footing, we, went on lockdown and didn't go back to the bar for a year or so. So I'd say, like I said, any given day, there's between 5 to 8 of us at the Abbey. Sometimes only 2. Those are the sad days. But hey, it happens.
All of us, mate. It happens to all.
Yeah, but we do have like on certain matches and certain league kickoff, like the start of the season, we usually get a nice good turnout and stuff like that. So,
Is it a lot of like just Americans, or are there quite a few like Geordies as well, like proper Geordies from Newcastle? Or
there is, I think, maybe only one now. So there was one, our mate Andy, who started the group. Really, he had the Tyne Bridge on his back.
Nice.
Yeah. And he was the wild one. He started it all. He was born and bred. We don't have so many of us anymore. It's mostly Americans now, which is kind of wild to think about now that I think about it. And I think there is one in the group who comes and goes, here or there, but I think he's got a couple kids and so he coaches soccer, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah. We got a couple of members too. It's tough for them because they coach as well. So it's tough for them.
How many Geordies do we have?
I'm sorry, Rich, go ahead.
How many Geordies do we have? Do we have like 3 or 4 Geordies now?
Well, we've just gotten 2 new people have relocated to San Diego recently. So I think we probably got like 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Going strong.
Yeah. It's quite
more.
Yeah. I feel like San Diego needs to start like paying us because we're getting all these people to want to move out here. Like people already wanted to come out here before, right? But now we just keep giving them incentive, right?
That's it. If you're looking for work out here, come across.
Yeah. Visit San Diego or some other organization like that should start sponsoring our podcast.
Gotta reach out, man.
Yeah, no, we have gotten a few that have showed up.
Nice.
Yeah, that's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. It gives you a little bit more street cred. A bunch of Americans walking around and people are like, why do you support them? It's like, don't mind your business. We chose this life a long time ago and we're just here for it now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always like, I didn't choose it. It chose me, like
my wife has cursed me multiple. She's like, why'd you do this to me? Why? Because she's a big sports fan too. So like,
really?
that's our thing. Yeah. So we went our first time over there was for our honeymoon. And then we've been back once before. We were going there for a wedding. So yeah, she has cursed me a couple times and been like, God damn it. I think she was watching Chelsea the other day, and I think she was like, man, she was like, if you hadn't done this to me, I might have picked them. She was like, I really like that blue. I was like, shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah.
No.
It's too late.
Once you're in. That's it.
Yeah, no turning back.
Can't leave.
You should see the stack of away kits. It's like this, and they're just all hers. It's in the closet, just 3 feet wide.
Oh, that's
just
cool.
Every away kit. She likes all the pretty colors.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for those as well. As I'm sure you know.
Every now and then I'll pick one up, but I can't. Every time I try, I'm just like, black and white.
Yeah, I get it.
Class.
That's cool. So your wife's a Toon supporter now too. Unfortunately, thanks to you, right?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, now we're the richest club in the world, baby.
Yeah. You're like, hey, it's a good investment, eh?
I just told you, just hold on.
The long game.
A little bit longer.
The long game. That's it. Yeah. That's it.
And you mentioned you guys have gone to Newcastle then?
Yes. Yeah. We and the wife have been. Like I said, we went. So we got married in April of 2018. We went that winter. We kind of waited because I'm a Christmas baby. So for my birthday, we went over and we landed basically on Boxing Day. We went in Liverpool, and then we were at Anfield like 3 hours later. So that was a fun start to like 12 days we were there or something like that. So we did Liverpool, spent some time in London, went to I think we were away at Watford, if I'm not mistaken, and then did like another day in London, relocated up to Newcastle, and then it was Man United on New Year's Day, I think it was, or New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, I think it was. So that was our first little trip. And then the following year, I had a fraternity brother who got married in Dublin. We decided to bookend the trip because why not, right?
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we went a little hard. So we started in London. We were there at Tottenham when Joe scored his first goal, and we won that match. Like Joe Linton. We were at that.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, we were at that match. And then we went to Dublin for like 5 days and did a wedding and drank ourselves stupid. And then we made the poor decision to book our flight at to Newcastle at 6 a.m. the day following the wedding. And we didn't go to sleep until like, I don't know, 3 a.m. So I was pissed on this flight. I just absolutely hammered. Yeah, absolutely lit up. And so we flew from Dublin to Newcastle and checked in at the Sandman and slept until like 5 or 6 p.m. and got up, got some food, then went back to sleep. And then I think we game next day. I think it was Man United again at home, if I'm not mistaken. Cool. So yeah, those have been my 2 trips. So they've been a little crazy.
Great trip.
Yeah, they're good times. We were supposed to go back in March, but my buddy's getting married and I'm in the wedding, so we had to move some things around. So I think we're planning like probably September this year, because that kind of changed some things. Being in weddings is expensive, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. My best friend, one of my best friends from Newcastle, is getting married, and I'm in his wedding, so I'm back there in June. And I'm like, mate, you couldn't have just had your wedding when we had fixtures.
I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the worst.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Should I move my wedding? And I was like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the first thought when my buddy was like, hey, so we're having our wedding. It's in Dublin. I was like, when is it? Okay, cool. We got it. Fucking matches. We're there.
I need to go to my church first. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it was.
I was like, mate, you could have just gotten married outside St. James Park on a match day. I'd be out there, and then we go to the match to celebrate after.
Look at that. See, some people are so inconsiderate.
I know, man. And then my other mate's actually getting married in December out there as well. So I'm going out there for that one. I was like, well, at least he was considerate.
Yeah. December's the perfect time. You can cram them all in.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So what was it like for you going to St. James Park for the first time?
Just a little surreal because I just, I'd been watching it for so long and like not even watching it too, because like when I first started, it was reading about it and hearing about it, you know what I mean? Like, and then I'd see it like every 2 or 3 weeks that we'd catch a game where we were on, or like the really primitive, like midnight ESPN FCs where they throw you a couple clips. You know what I mean? It was so obscure in the early 2000s. So it just feels so weird. So yeah, like it just was really surreal to like actually be there. Like didn't think I assumed I would do it someday, but like did it. And it was the capstone to like I said, I went to Anfield like at night under the lights on Boxing Day. Like, and so that was a very like interesting atmosphere that for my first game period, in England. And so like going there, it was like, look, the energy at Anfield is electric on that kind of an atmosphere, and it was the same thing for Man United on New Year's night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At walking into St. James, it was breathtaking. Like that's the only way you can describe it. And it's a very different feel. Like, look, I have stadiums here that I adore. Like I adore Camden Yards. I will fight a motherfucker. No, excuse my French. I don't know if that'll get censored. But
we're okay with the F word here.
Yeah, okay, cool. I didn't know if it was family friendly.
It's still family friendly, but we say fuck. It's okay.
I'm a middle class, so I can't help myself. But yeah, so I adore my stadiums here. But that's just different. There's a feel to it. There's a soul to it. It feels like Camden Yards to me. Whereas like I love M&T for the Ravens. I love it. It's just there's not as much life to it for me. There's a soul to Camden Yards. There's a soul to St. James. Like it's just different. I didn't necessarily, and I guess you feel that in a lot of different stadiums. I didn't feel it at New Tottenham, I'm surprised. But you even kind of feel like I feel it at Watford. You know what I mean? There's a soul to it. There's a feel to it. It's just a different culture around the sport than anything that you're used to here. So that experience was one of a kind. Our shop was shit though at the time. That's the only thing I'll bitch about. Yeah.
That's really cool. Did you? I always like when I go to Newcastle, you see all the generations. So you might be sitting next to a couple of kids, an old boy, an old lady, and a married couple, or you just get all around you. There's always a loud one behind you, just behind you, or like there's always an abusive one shouting abuse at everyone.
Yeah.
Did you? How was that? Your experience coming from your neck of the woods.
Well, and like I said, the thing at the top is it felt like home. It's always felt like home because that's how it is here. This is a very small city and it's a very tight knit city. Like it's it's jokingly referred to as Baltimore. People like everyone knows each other here or knows each other by not even 6 degrees of separation, more like 3. You know what I mean? It's the town where people ask you where you went to high school, not where you went to college. Like where you went to college nobody cares. Like it's where around here, it's where you went to high school because it tells a lot about who you are. So yeah, it just felt like that. And like I remember even my wife being like, "Oh, look at the little kids and their little kits, like just running around, like picking around like little kids do." Like it felt like home. Like we got there, my wife was like, "Cool, we can move here." And I was like, "All right, sweet, let's figure it out." Like totally fine. So it didn't skip a beat. Like London felt different. Obviously, it's massive. You know what I mean? Liverpool felt odd, but Newcastle just felt comfortable. It felt like home.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think a lot of people say that. Maybe it's cliche, but I think it speaks to the culture of the town and how the people are up there. They're just so welcoming and warm, and especially from like it's the shock to true Geordies to see an American wearing the same colors and be like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Why have you done this to yourself?" And we're like, "Well, I don't know either." So it's
brilliant. I mean, all of that resonates with me. It's just such a big part of why I fell in love with Newcastle United so much was just how warm and welcoming Geordies are in general, and just genuine, and you're making me want to go to Baltimore even more because we love that in San Diego because we do it. It's a smaller city in a state full of large cities. So we do get that feel here. And there are a lot of similarities that make me love this city. But I do miss that, that kind of like we're all in this together mentality, which is just so hard to find. I feel like, at least out here on the West Coast where I've lived. And there really is nothing like Newcastle, and there really are no people like Geordies, and they're just like, everyone knows that I'm Geordie mad, but it's like I'll always say that, like, you really don't know like genuine warmth until you've been welcomed by a bunch of Geordies, to be honest. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, like I mean, an example, so the last time we were there, we did. I'll try to condense a very long story and make it short. But before our first trip there, the way we got our Manchester United tickets was that my wife had entered a contest on Facebook for one of the coach companies. It's Northeast Coach, the Rush family, fantastic people. So my wife just simply commented, did her thing. She was like, share, commented that we were coming for our honeymoon. Hundreds of replies under it from local Geordies who say, give it to them. And the owner, Jenna, reaches out to my wife on Facebook and is like, "Hey, like, is this true?" "Yep, 100%. Here's the video of us when we met Shearer, when we did Premier League Live in DC and all that stuff." And they were like, "Holy shit, sorted. You're coming with us. Like, don't worry about it." And so that started that relationship with them, and they've helped us out getting away tickets and stuff like that every time we've come. And the last time we were there, they were insistent that we have Sunday dinner with them, and we didn't fly out until Monday around like noon. But we were planning on just getting to London that Sunday evening, taking it easy, flying out the next day. But instead, we stayed very late into the evening, had Sunday dinner with the whole family, stuffed to the gills, Hopped in a late train down to London and checked into the hotel and slept like a baby before we flew back. Like that, they would not let us say no. Like we were out for a night drinking, and it just came out, and they were like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, you don't have your train booked. You're coming to dinner. That's it.
That's amazing.
Great story.
That's really cool. I mean, and it's just so true. And I'm actually glad you brought up that DC Premier League morning thing, because I saw that. And when you came on, I was like 98% certain that I saw you being interviewed about like who Alan Shearer is and what he means to Newcastle. But I didn't want to presume that it was you, but I think you had shorter hair then.
I did. I might have had a hat on too.
I think you had a hat on. That's a little
scruffy.
Really good.
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah. I'm so glad you said that, because I thought it was you.
So that was the guy. Somebody turned me into a meme at some point. Because like my face, like very dramatically, when I realized like it's him behind us, like I very dramatically like, holy shit. And somebody like pasted into a meme. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
You have to do that. Tell us a little bit about that before we kind of go back to the Baltimore of it all.
Man. I mean, that was just kind of random. It was new. The DC one was the first of the Premier League lives. Right? Yeah. So it was totally random. I forget how or who, mentioned that, so-and-so or like Premier League is going to be doing this documentary on, like Premier League or American Premier League fans. And they're looking for like different teams and stuff like that. So no really inkling of it was going to be Shearer or anything of that sort. I think I emailed this person. They emailed me back. They were like, yeah, absolutely. This is what we're doing. We're going to be meeting at this hotel that was like right next to where they ended up shooting the whole fan fest. We're going to be meeting at this hotel. Just going to be a couple of fans. We're going to ask you questions about like, your support. Yeah, I think it was the Newcastle support in the area and blah, blah, blah. And then, just totally at random, like pulled us into a room. We're in front of cameras. They put us on a mark. They start kind of asking us a couple questions, and he comes popping out from a room behind us. And like, I remember he put his hands like one on me and one on my wife, because it was both of us. And that's when I kind of lost my shit. And my wife, like, you could see her like almost instantly like clam up, like, holy shit, what do I say? Like, we freaked out a little bit. And he was awesome. He signed like, so I have the top we went down in the 09, that Adidas with the collar. He signed that one for me. I think we have a couple scarves that he signed as well, and stuff like that. But that was totally wild. Like, that's cool. But we knew it was something cool, and we kind of got this feeling when they were very hush hush, and they're like, you can only go into this room, you can't come out of this room, and like all this shit. And there was no bathroom, so like one lady, I think it was a wife of like one of the guys, was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. She was like, sorry, can't let you out of the room, top secret. Like, so I'm assuming like Shearer was just milling about, and they didn't want us to see him to ruin the surprise. But that was great. And then he watched, like we watched our entire match the next day against Brighton with him on the rooftop.
Cool, man.
At the fan fest.
Brilliant.
So one of a kind. Like, that was once in a lifetime shit. That was
it's funny, right? I mean, it's even funnier now. But I remember seeing that and being so envious. One, because I wanted to go to Fan Fest really badly, and then two, I saw that video and I was like, damn. I'm like, man, like, how cool is that? And then like,
little did you know.
Little did I know, right? Exactly.
And it was, like I said, it was totally random, and I just happened to. So I work in sales, so I happen to like, never really actually be doing anything. Like, I don't have I don't have a schedule. Like, I just I work from home mostly. Like, I go out and visit my clients, but like other than that, I'm usually around for stuff, depending on what's going on. And it just kind of worked out. Like, I think a couple of the other guys in the group like got the email back but couldn't go. Like, they were like, "Oh, sorry, I'm in the office," or blah blah blah. I was like, "Well," and my wife was like, "Well, I can go, and I can go. Let's go." Because it was smack in the middle of the day, if I'm not mistaken, into DC, which was brutal. DC traffic's awful, notoriously, if you've never been. but it was totally worth it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was amazing. And then some guy, when we were at Tottenham in the stadium, some guy like turns around and he keeps looking at me. He's in the row in front of us, and like he's looking at me the whole game, and until like the 60th minute, I guess he works up the courage. He's like, hey, aren't you that American that met Alan Shearer and you were on YouTube and shit? And I was like, yeah, that's me, man. He was like, that was amazing, dude. Just loses his shit in the stands at Tottenham, like that. Just random conversation. But yeah, I thought that was brilliant. But man, what an experience! That was incredible. And yours was amazing, dude. Watching yours I got jealous, and I met him already.
It was surreal, and very, very similar in kind of how yours came to be. I mean, I originally wasn't going to go to FanFest just because it was a crazy year and I had so much going on, but I was like, I can't miss it. I have to go at least meet some of my other, like, my other Geordies and watch the match. And then, like I said, like I had no idea about any of that as well. Like I just knew that I was being interviewed before the game about us playing Palace, and I was just like, okay. And then literally like 30 seconds before I come on camera is when I found out that I was going to be being interviewed by Rebecca Lowe and Sheer, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, yeah.
I didn't get the Rebecca Lowe treatment though.
I was pretty stoked about that one. I won't lie.
Yeah. But no, that's awesome. I said the same thing to my wife. I was like, I've met the guy and I'm watching him like, damn, I'm jealous. I wish I could do that. But no, that's cool stuff. Yeah,
no, I'm glad you brought that up. I definitely recognized you.
Well, thank you. That's a little bit of celebrity. But no, NBC's been phenomenal. Like, shout out to NBC Premier League.
Yeah. My Premier League mornings. They have revolutionized, Premier League football for American fans, and
absolutely,
and they really do. I really think that they understand football culture really, really well, because they just manage to bring, like, it's not just about showing the games in the States. Like, they really do understand what it means to be a football fan, and they try to bring as much of that from England as they can here. And and just everything that they did with me with Sheer and everything like that, just for a Newcastle fan was, and you can relate as well, it just encapsulates so much of what being a football supporter is. And even with the other clubs, and you see the things that they do for supporters from other clubs as well. It's just they really, really do. They do it well, but also, like, I met a lot of their team when they were putting together the whole Sheer thing and everything like that. And just all great people that love what they're doing and take very much great pride in what they do. And it just shows in how they present everything. And so, so I totally agree with you. Big shout out to them.
Yes. 100%.
But all right, let's get back to the Baltimore of it all.
Yeah.
What's like a typical match day for you guys? Like, what does that look like? I mean, we know where you go and everything, but I think we everyone knows kind of how we are on our match day, because I'm such a Twitter whore. But
and I am not. It's so funny. Like, every now and then I check in and like Denver or somebody has messaged me and I'm like, oh, hey, my bad, man. I don't ever look at Twitter. But no, I mean, it's pretty lax nowadays. Like I said, we are not the young rapscallions we used to be. You know what I mean? So it's a lot more laid back. It's like a come in. Sometimes the kitchen's open, depends on how early we kick off. Sometimes it's not. Most of us start off with the water to stay hydrated, keep our skin fresh, keep the hangovers away. And then we dive into the pints as we do. So yeah, I mean, it's really, and we've been together, most of us, for so long now, that it's just good quality banter and like conversation and like tactical discussions and like just random shit while we sit there and drink our morning beers, while our wives aren't bothering us, or they're still sleeping. It's nice. It's a very mature experience these days with Toon Army Baltimore. Previously, though, it used to be quite different.
Oh yeah? How so?
Oh, we were just a bunch of drunkards. Like I said, nobody was married. Nobody had kids. It was extremely common. There was this local rye whiskey that is no longer made, but was famous around these parts for being just god awful and extremely cheap. But you could go to a bar as you know, they mark up your shots, and you could still get yourself like a $4 shot of rye whiskey.
Nice.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. And so we used to get ourselves waist deep into shots of Pikesville rye, depending on our fortunes on the pitch. And back then there were 7 a.m. kickoffs, 8 a.m. kickoffs. So a good portion of us were tuned up by 10, 11 a.m.
Ready for the day.
Yeah, it was good times,
Yeah, that's us every now and then.
Yeah, I didn't complain about it. But it's much more reserved these days. We can still strap it on if we need to.
Okay. And so what's your go-to pint then?
Ooh, so luckily the Abbey has like 24 rotating taps.
Awesome.
So there's usually never any one thing, but there's usually always a brown. So that's typically like everyone's standard. But most of us are kind of craft beer heads, so we tend to drink our way around the menu, depending on how it goes. So nothing set in stone. When we were at Cilantro previously, they had Newcastle on tap, so it was always just pints of brewing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Now we drink, because I told you it's much more mature experience. Craft beers, good food. It's very refined.
We're craft beer nerds over here too.
Total bullshit. Luckily, like I said, they have a good list, and it changes all the time. So we just sample our way around.
That's awesome. I mean, that's kind of how it is for us. Although the Bluefoot just got Carlsberg on tap. Yeah. So it's like now I'm like the only time I'm in San Diego where I'm not drinking craft beer now is I'm at Bluefoot because I'm drinking Guinness and Carlsberg, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of how it should be, I guess. But
you know what ends up happening when I come back from England, I end up drinking Stellas a lot because like I go over there and I'm just like, all right, well, I guess I'll just drink a Stella. I'll just drink a Stella, and then I come back here and I'm like, hey, look at that Stella. It's a very weird experience. But no, and I'm a dark beer guy generally speaking, so I'll get into it. If I see a brown or a stout somewhere, a porter, if anybody makes them anymore. Hey, breweries listening to this, make porters.
Hey, there's some good porters. We go to Shade and I go do a quick run and then a quick few pints on a Thursday, and the Second Chance Brewery in San Diego do a good porter. So it's too cool.
All right, good to know. Yeah,
Rich loves it, and I like stouts. I'm not huge on porters. I'm hit and miss, but everyone that likes porters loves that one. And we've actually quite a few. Stouts are massive over here. I was actually at a stout tasting yesterday, funnily enough. But that's why I didn't get back to you about text. That's why I didn't text you until really late yesterday. But yeah, you can get some good stuff out here when you do come to visit, because I know you will one day now.
Sure, I'm down.
I think half the town is IPA, half the town is split.
Is it still West Coast style IPAs out there?
Yeah, it's hazies and West Coast, or it's like porters and darks and browns and stouts, right? It's like there's me in the middle, like I want all.
over here, if there's like 20 taps, it's like I don't know. 16 hazy IPAs, and it's like, so they're all the same. So basically you've made 4 beers 4 times, and then there's probably like 2 kettle sours, and then like some jackass decided to make a seltzer and put it on the tap. And like that's how our breweries work over here every now and then. There's like 1 or 2 that are like, we still make dark stuff, but we get so much of an East Coast IPA shit over here. It's a little boring now.
I get that. That's cool. Well, I mean, it looks like, we definitely want you to come out here and experience San Diego for the craft beer and obviously for our group and everything, watch a match. But it looks like we'll most likely be coming to you first, right?
That's the sound. That sounds like where it's going. Hey man, I'm down to make a personal trip out to San Diego.
Obviously more than welcome. But we should talk about, and our listeners know from Denver talking about when they hosted their national meetup. But for anybody new listening, so all the Toon Army groups in North America, Canada included, we all try to meet up once a year. And to be fair, this was something I didn't know about up until I got more recent, more active on Twitter within the last 3 years. And obviously we've not had one because of the pandemic. But we've had a few, and what happens is the groups do a vote every year on where we're going to go next. And so Denver hosted the last one, correct?
Yes, I believe that was right.
Yeah. And then the vote happened, and Baltimore was the winners of, well, it was supposed to have already happened, but COVID's delayed it, but we're still honoring that vote.
Yeah.
And doing it in Baltimore.
Yeah, that was I guess it was supposed to be 2020 that it was supposed to happen. Like it was supposed to be, I think, in that April-ish. And and then by February, we were in zombie apocalypse world. So things got weird. Exactly like you said, everybody meets up. I think Dallas has hosted one.
That's right.
Who else? A couple other. We've had like 3 or 4, I want to say. And they've gotten bigger and bigger each year. But yeah, so we luckily got selected. I don't know how. I think I talked myself. I'm a salesman by trade, and so I think I just won. I think I just closed a deal. Is all I did. So luckily, everybody likes us enough to pick us. And yeah, we were supposed to host it. We had just settled in at the Abbey, like I said, so we were going to do obviously watch party there. It's a pretty decent sized bar. We were going to have the run of it, and then we were going to have a bus take us into downtown and just do what Geordies do best, and drink a lot of alcohol in a short amount of time. So yeah, it was a lot. It was going to be a lot of fun. We had like a little bar crawl tour going on. I think I have a couple friends that own a brewery down here and a couple restaurants. So we're going to hit some breweries and stuff like that. So now we got to retool, figure it all out again. COVID obviously shut us all down, but it sounds like the consensus is you guys are willing to allow us to host it again. So I am down. I think we're always down. We always love bringing people to Baltimore because, like I said, people don't know a whole lot about us. And sometimes what the national media gives to people about us is less than ideal. So yeah, we like to show people the different side of Baltimore that is a whole lot friendlier than sometimes their reputation gives it.
That's cool. I mean, we're excited. We're going to be there for sure. We want to we're like talking like we want to do like a like special episode when we go and do it and like cover it and everything like that because we think it'd be awesome.
We absolutely should. I know there's some friends of ours, friends of the group, and they're local guys around here that they host a podcast called the DU Football Show, the Drunkard United Football Show. You guys should check it out. A little bit of competition for you guys. They're 2 American guys that just do Premier League. They cover it all. One's a gunner, one's a toffee, and they talk a lot of shit, but they're good guys. And yeah, we had kind of said the same thing that we're going to have them host and do something live. So I absolutely agree. We should put you in touch with them and make it all work.
Maybe do some type of crossover something.
I mean, Baltimore is, I don't know if you guys know, but Baltimore in the DC Baltimore kind of metro area is a football hotbed. It is one of the, typically like highest rating regions for watching any type of, World Cup ratings are always high in this region. All of the U.S. national team stuff is high in this region. This is a very hot football area that people, I think, don't really realize. And it goes back to that whole, passionate fan base thing. And I think the sport works in this region. And so you got a lot of, we had interesting guys who are supporters of different clubs who had bought tickets to come out and hang out with us that weekend.
That's cool.
And that day watch our match because it's a very, tight-knit football community in Baltimore, as everything is here. It'll be a good time for sure.
That's awesome. I mean, we're stoked on it. We definitely can't wait for it, and we're very similar. The football community here is really really tight knit. Like obviously on a match day, fuck them, but if we're playing them, but like for the Euros, we're all watching England together and watching the matches together, and we all got really tight then, and you see everybody, you give them a bit of banter, but at the end of the day, like we all look out for one another as well, and I love that. So why do you have a theory on why your area is is so just open to football and football. I mean, you mentioned maybe like the kind of passionate fan base aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But, you think that that's the main driver behind it?
I think there's so I know my nieces specifically, like they play, they play like high level, like travel football. So the youth setups around here are very American, unfortunately. So it's very pay to play, but it is a very vibrant and active, youth football community between like Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. So I think that's probably a big part of it too. They're very, I run into very few people who even friends of mine who are parents whose kids don't play soccer. It's I think that's probably the biggest thing of it. And then you have just the region itself. I think the population itself, a large Latino concentration as well between DC, Baltimore, Northern Virginia. So kind of natural proclivity to the game. So there's a couple different, reasonings in there. But yeah, we've always been big. Whenever we've hosted U.S. men's national team games, we sell out M&T Bank, which is a little over 80,000 people, I think, at full capacity. We've hosted a couple of those. What do they call it? The champions something tours when the AC Milans and the Juventuses come over and stuff like that. We've hosted that stuff. Usually sell them all out. I don't know. It's interesting. I know from what I understand, we're in the running, for hopefully a World Cup hosting, coming down the pipe. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, man. We do love the game in this part of the country.
Would you say it's like obviously in Newcastle, you look forward all week to the sports weekend. You kind of work like very blue collar, like you mentioned, and it's very similar to Newcastle. Even if you're like a little bit white collar Newcastle, all my dad and I we sell cars, so all the guys used to get together at all the competing rival garages around Newcastle, around Gateshead, around all those little places. And always be like the match, or we're going to beat the Mackhams on Saturday. You know what I mean? Because it's back in Bob Robson era when I was doing that. But it was just very much, if we'd got beat, there was a different week ahead. I assume I assume it's the same for you.
I would say the baseball's different, obviously. This is a very big baseball town, but we're in our dark ages right now. So that's a little bit of a different topic, but you could certainly sense it with the Ravens here, and you get that same kind of weekly, wave of emotion. And me and my wife just moved out of the city in August. And we had been in the city for almost 10 years, and a literal 7-minute walk from my front door to the gate of both stadiums, because they sit right next to each other. And yeah, that's the feeling you get. By 6 a.m., the vendors are set up. It's purple everywhere. It's purple for a 10-block radius around this 82,000 seat stadium, and then it's maybe a half a mile walk to one of the biggest bar districts in the city. And so you go into that portion of the city, and it's just wall to wall purple. And people coming in and out of bars. So it's the same feel. It's the city comes alive on that Sunday. You kind of look out your window and there's people walking everywhere, and everybody's in purple, and everybody's, just focused on one thing that's coming in a couple of hours. And so that's why I do liken it to this city, is like that you get that, that feel, and then everything just kind of stops. This is the priority for this town for the next 4 hours, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really cool. Cool.
Man. I think you guys will like it over here.
Oh, I can't wait. Dude, you are good at sales, man. You're selling me, man.
I've been doing it for a little while.
Yeah, no, we definitely can't wait to get out. We don't have a date yet on that reschedule, do we?
No, not yet. I know we were all still kind of talking back and forth, so I figured. Yeah. I mean, I was hopefully shooting for like early fall before it gets too cold, so we still got some time to gallivant about town.
Yeah.
And without having to bundle up and worry about freezing our asses off, because it does get a little cold over here. It was like 18 this morning. I was pissed. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot. It's cold here, guys. So yeah, I'll try to do my best to not put it in a cold month. But yeah, hopefully early fall.
Southern California and the Geordie both go, ooh. Yeah. We've been in San Diego too long.
I know, right?
Like, when we first went for our honeymoon, people were like, so hold on. You got married in April, you're waiting till December to go on your honeymoon, and you're going to the north of England. And we were like, yep, that's what we're doing. We're fucking crazy. Yeah. We're nuts. But fuck yeah. That's what we're doing.
So I mean, I get it all the time too. They're like, you're using all your holidays to go to the north of England in December. I'm all, yeah. We got the most fixtures then, you know.
That's the most bang for my buck.
Yeah, exactly.
There is something about to be said, you know, about a kind of a not like icy cold, but just like a kind of a crisp in the air, watching sport, getting a jacket on, bundling with your mates, and then if you obviously get the right result, you know, getting a bit of food, getting a few pints down your neck. It's just fantastic.
That is true.
Nothing quite like it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
You know, and it's different. It's different if it's like 30 degrees. You know what I mean? Like it's hot. You know, the beers are going everywhere, which is not too bad. But just like here, because we get to do it first thing in the morning, like 7 a.m. kickoff. It's pretty nice mellow start to the day, you know. So it's not too hot, but no, it's something to be said about the dark. It kind of goes with Newcastle, you know, that cauldron effect.
Yeah, it certainly does, and that's how like I said, I think the biggest correlation over here is definitely a Ravens game in like December, January. It's gonna be gray, it's gonna be cold, but it's gonna be lovely. There's meats cooking, there's beers flowing, there's liquor pouring. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, no, we definitely can't wait to get out there. Awesome. So, I mean, it's been awesome, you know, learning about Baltimore, learning your story and hearing about the group and everything. You know, we've been talking for quite a while. Before we kind of wrap things up, I just kind of wanted to ask, you know, it's been a crazy year for us with the takeover and everything. Obviously, I think it was a bit of a surprise when it got approved. So I think a lot of our expectations and ideas of what the future of Newcastle United holds really got kind of flipped over this year and everything. What are your thoughts? Like, you know, what are your hopes for the future for Newcastle United? What are your thoughts on the current transfer window? And lastly, like, what do you hope that means for us fans out here in the States?
Well, just I'll mix up your order. I'll just hit transfer.
Yeah, go whichever way. I just wanted to shoot that all to you. Yeah,
I think it's we'll streamline it for you. So I think transfer window. I mean, is about as good as you can get. Maybe we say that if we want to be whiny, rich club supporters, which we are now, we didn't get another forward, which would have been nice. But shit, you won't hear complain. I have not complained. Can't get mad about the window. I think it was done well. They went after some other statement signings, and I think almost felt like a testing of the waters. They just wanted to see what the European market was going to react to money Newcastle. And now they kind of got a feel for it. You know what I mean? But they got, I think, what they wanted. They got Bruno. They strengthened at the back, which you absolutely needed. You got cover for Wilson for hopefully not too much goddamn longer. Yeah, I mean, you can't complain. I've got no complaints. I think we're stronger going forward. I think did I hear there was an awful like Watford Burnley result recently? Wasn't that like yesterday or the day or something?
No.
Yeah. So fantastic. Looking even better. Window's looking fantastic right now. You know, everything else, like you said, whirlwind, totally random that this went through. Somebody paid off somebody. I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine with it. I mean, it was, you know, it's a tumultuous time as for, you know, I think for all of us being a little bit torn, I'm sure, with the backlash that we all received from opposing fans and media with the Saudis' notorious reputation. but likewise, a chance for us as just fans removed from politics or geopolitical goings-ons can just be happy and hopeful and expect a little bit of something that we, fans of a certain age were used to. And just like everyone has said, and we get vilified as supporters, I think, a lot more than others, as demanding and wanting too much. But we just want a team that attempts to stay in this league above just staying in the league. Maybe tries for the top half of the table. You know what I mean? Fuck, give me 2 or 3 years of top 10s, and I will be fucking content, gentlemen. So yeah, I think we're trending in the right direction. I think the owners have tested the waters and done what they can. I hope we see a director of football here soon or something of the sort to kind of steady the overall ship. Because we've got a lot of infrastructure that I think is the next task. It's the training ground, it's the academy, it's all of that stuff that makes this already big club into the big, massive, well-oiled machine European giant that it can be, that we all know it can be. So yeah, I think we're trending, man. We're trending in the right direction. I am happy. I don't demand Champions League medals until fucking never. Honestly, just get us there. Even if we lose a final, fuck, please. Yep, totally cool. And I'll be there. I'll be in fucking whatever third world Eastern European country has paid for you to host it in their city. UEFA, you just let me know. But yeah, man, I'm just happy. I'm excited. It's a new dawn. And I think some clubs are fucking shit scared of us, and they should be.
They should be.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't have said any of that better myself, man. I totally agree. I mean, and Rich, I mean, could you that's just spot on for all of us, isn't it?
It's amazing. No, it's fantastic because Shade and I were discussing at the start of the season, same old, probably fight from avoid relegation. But then obviously we realized the whole squad have deteriorated. We just haven't added to the squad enough over the years. So the teams around us have got better. So therefore that's where we end ourselves up in this mess that we're in. Yeah. And then I think, like you said, that it's the best we could have done. Maybe even Bruno was a surprise signing for me. I didn't know after Bruno. He came out of nowhere. Yeah. And I think if I saw Bruno's PR team posted on his Twitter, it was amazing how the story about Arsenal wanting him and then Bruno came to Newcastle. So I just there's a lot of good PR about Newcastle going on right now. The applied for the living wage today or yesterday. And the owners or the face, Amanda Staveley and Murdad, they're making names with the women's team and the local grassroots. So I think that's, like you said, it's a huge organization to kind of look after, because really might actually left a bit of a skeleton crew there. So I just think it's. Yeah, sure, we'll get some good performances on the pitch over the next several years, but the next 10, 15 years, we'll see some rising stars from Newcastle and all the schools around there. And suddenly the best talent from around the world is going to be in our academy.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Right.
It's far from, and I think that's the keys. It's far from, look, yes, I want results, from the first team on the pitch. I want them on Tuesday. And I want them every weekend until the rest of the end of the season. But I want the club to grow. I want us I want, I think I brought it up was the club shop when we went. We stopped in, I think maybe this might have been our second trip, but we stopped into the shop at the Emirates because my wife's cousin is an Arsenal fan. So we wanted to go and get him something, and they were having a baby and get his little boy something. And we walk in, and it's this palatial team store. It's massive, and it's got everything you could possibly imagine. It's got Arsenal branded tampons and condom and fucking feed bags and diapers. It's insane. And then you go into ours, and it's like, here's some Lonsdale. Here's a couple of t-shirts and like some medium, just a whole rack of medium-sized, shorts, and that's it. It was embarrassing. And so like it's things like that I think that's what I want to see just get better and better, is the facilities around the club and what the club means to the city itself and how it can influence the city itself. Those are the bigger things that need to take priority as we slowly build to becoming the machine that we will be.
I totally agree.
Great way.
Well, honestly, like, I think that's a great place to close it out. We're really, really happy. I mean, Rich, unless you have something else.
No, that was a great way to end it.
All right. Alan, we're really happy that you could come on the show and tell us about Baltimore. We're looking forward to having the meetup with you guys as soon as it gets coordinated, and as soon as we have a date and stuff like that, we'll be blasting that on all our channels as well, because we want Baltimore to have the biggest, best turnout that they could possibly have, and we can't wait to get together with you and the Baltimore crew, but also just all of the other Geordies that we've talked to, and everybody's, it's gonna be a good time. Before we let you go, we are really grateful for you showing up. Yeah, I know that you have your own podcast as well, which I wanted to give you a minute to shout out. So tell us a little bit about your podcast that you do. It's with a couple of your friends, right?
Yeah. So
Newcastle realm, but yeah,
out of the Newcastle realm, it's just a couple of random guys talking about random shit. So I do appreciate it, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on. Start there. But yeah, like you said, my podcast is called The Middle Class Holes. It's me and two other just middle class assholes talking about random pop culture, politics, religion. I don't know. Send us stuff. Email. We like to talk about stuff you email us. Sometimes it's aliens. Sometimes it's about how the earth is definitely not flat. It depends on what it is. You send us some stuff to talk about and we'll talk about it. That's kind of what it is. But you can find us all your favorite streaming platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, of course, The Middle Class Holes. And then we're on Instagram and Twitter at MDL Class Holes as well. You can find us. So
The Middle Class.
I appreciate it, guys.
Middle Class Holes.
No.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on. Thanks to the Baltimore crew. Send them all our love. We're really happy that we could feature you guys. We're hoping for a good result on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And big shout out to Gallowgateshots as always for putting our show on. Rich, you got anything before we wrap up?
Nope. Let's bring on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
That's
I'm
it.
excited. I can't wait. I've been
I
dying.
can't either. This weekend's been like, I'm like, okay, we need a match. Come on.
We need a match.
FA Cup and
the business has been done.
I've been seeing all this FA Cup shit, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's
We're done with that. Come on, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Roll on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks again, Gallowgateshots. We'll be back soon.
See you, everyone.